Hey folks, this is JR with DIY Prepper. Welcome to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the best prepper and survival items at Dollar General. And the purpose of videos like this is so that if we're dealing with shortages or something just happens all of a sudden, give y'all some ideas of some places you can just duck into real quick and get what you need and know kind of what they have before you go in. And these kind of videos, they're not sponsored by these stores. They're just the result of me going in and wandering around and seeing what they have and sharing it with y'all. But Dollar General in particular has some advantages that I think are useful for folks like us. First and foremost, they are pretty much everywhere. At least here in Texas, I have seen Dollar Generals in little towns that might not even have 1,000 people in them. In larger towns may have several Dollar Generals within the city limits or maybe just a little bit outside of town. And then also, they are a place that not nearly as many people shop as, say, Walmart. If you go into Walmart, I mean, there's probably a couple hundred people in the store. You go to Dollar General, I mean, the place is hopping when there's 10 other people in there. And since they're not necessarily people's first place where they go shop a lot of the times, if some sort of panic buying happens, you might be able to find things at places like Dollar General, Family Dollar, Dollar Tree for a little bit longer than some of those other stores. And while, yes, you should have everything you need ahead of time, it is good to know of some places where you can get stuff after the fact. And the first group of prepper and survival items that you can find at Dollar General are tools, and some of these can also serve as basic survival gear. You can find tarps that would be useful if you need to make a shelter or make some small repairs, along with cordage, which can be used to help construct said shelter and for various other lashing tasks. They had a small selection of different kinds of lights, including a small solar-powered motion light, along with some larger flashlights and lanterns, and they also had some smaller flashlights that you could use for EDC. And if you look here at this picture, you can see some solar lights that I didn't quite notice when I was taking these pictures and videos. And they had a good selection of batteries in common sizes. This was a small display, but they had a larger end cap elsewhere in the store with a larger variety of sizes. Dollar General also has a few different varieties of duct tape that you can use to secure or repair items, along with some zip ties. And they had super glue that you could use to make repairs on items where tape or zip ties just aren't going to work that well. You can pick up a small selection of tools which may work okay for some small light duty tasks. And the Dollar General that I visited had a good selection of oil. They had engine oil along with other lubricants like WD-40, and they had some gas cans, which I didn't notice until I was looking back on the footage that I'd shot. They also had a few ratchet straps for securing loads, along with some spray paint that you could use to prevent equipment from rusting. The next group of items that you can find at Dollar General is food. They had some jugs of bottled water, but I wasn't able to find any smaller bottles, although I know that they sell them because I've bought them there before. You can pick up various kinds of canned goods. They had canned vegetables, which make good side dishes, along with a few different kinds of canned soup. I like to keep a variety of canned soups and canned chili on hand since they make decent small meals and can store for a while. The Dollar General that I visited also had some cans of pasta sauce. The Hunt's garlic and herb sauce is one of my family's favorites, and they had a small selection of dried pasta. One thing that I was surprised my store didn't have, though, was dried beans and rice. You can also pick up other food items like honey and peanut butter. These are both excellent foods to stockpile, and it doesn't hurt to have some comfort foods like instant mashed potatoes as well. Those are filling and can give you some variety to your diet. Dollar General has individual ingredients such as vinegar, and the one that I visited had both white and apple cider vinegar. They have salt, which is an important part of your diet, flour that you can use for baking or frying, along with some bags of sugar and bottles of cooking oil. And you can pick up additional food items like coffee. Instant coffee, like shown here, can have a shelf life of up to 20 years if stored properly. And it's a good idea to store some candy to help boost morale, especially if you have young kids. Having something sweet to eat can go a long ways towards making a disaster more bearable. And y'all, one thing that's really important to understand about stores like Dollar General, Family Dollar, and even Dollar Tree is that just because you are shopping at those discount stores, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are getting the best deal. So if you're looking for a place to get all of this stuff on a continuing basis, you might still want to price check just to make sure that you're getting the best deals possible. The next group of prepper and survival items that you can find at Dollar General are household items. They have a small selection of cooking utensils, including some manual can openers. However, in my experience, the more inexpensive crank-style can openers don't last very long, so be sure to have some backups on a multi-tool or some military-style can openers. They also had some aluminum pans that you could use for cooking, as well as various other sorting or cleaning tasks. I also saw paper plates that you can use to help reduce the amount of water that you'll use cleaning dishes. Dollar General has coolers that you can use to transport food and help keep it cool, along with lighter fluid and charcoal that you can use with your grill to cook food during a power outage. They had lighters that you can use to start grills and camp stoves, along with some smaller lighters at the front of the store that I didn't get to take footage of that you can keep in bags or kits. You can find several items that would help your home stay clean, such as toilet paper, and we all know how important that is, and paper towels. Paper towels, like paper plates, can reduce the amount of water that you use for cleaning and can also be used to help start fires. Dollar General has several kinds of trash bags, including kitchen bags, as well as heavier duty bags like these contractor bags. They have a few varieties of bleach that you can use to disinfect surfaces and clean clothing, and they also have plain disinfecting bleach, which is getting a little harder to find. This is what you can use to help purify drinking water during an emergency, and I'll link down to a water purification video that I did previously in the description below. You can pick up disinfecting wipes, which are good for cleaning countertops or other surfaces, along with many other cleaning supplies that have various uses around the home. Having a clean, germ-free house can help prevent disease from running rampant during a long-term disaster. Another thing that's important to have during a long-term disaster is pesticides. Insects and other pests can spread disease and cause damage to your home. Dollar General has several pesticides that you can use to prevent them from infesting your home, along with sprays you can use on yourself to prevent bites. The Dollar General that I visited had some gardening supplies, which kind of surprised me since I visited late in the season. They still have several seed starting products, along with some bags of garden soil, and they even had some larger bags of soil outside, similar to what you would find at a place like Walmart or Lowe's. And I saw several planter pots that you could use to grow tomatoes or peppers or other similar sized plants. Candles are another good thing to pick up there since they can provide a little extra light and heat, along with some storage totes that you can use to help organize gear or to build ready-to-go kits that you can just load up in your car if you need to. The next group of prepper and survival items that you can find at Dollar General is medications. They have a good selection of different kinds of pain relievers and fever reducers, along with other medications that you could use to treat different kinds of stomach ailments. And stomach ailments are going to be a big concern during a disaster situation because you're going to be eating some different foods, and your chance of coming across things like stomach viruses are probably going to increase. You can also pick up several kinds of flu and cold medications, as well as allergy medications. These should keep you going whether you have a winter cold or hay fever in the spring and summer if you're anything like me. They have Pedialyte, which you can use to avoid dehydration if you're working in the heat, or if you've been struggling with those stomach conditions that we mentioned earlier, because things like vomiting and diarrhea can cause your body to lose a lot of fluids, and Pedialyte's a good way to replenish those. It's a good idea to pick up some multivitamins since your food storage may not have all the nutrients that your body needs. Multivitamins can help fill these gaps and keep you as healthy as possible. Dollar General has chapstick and other lip balms that you can use to treat chapped lips and other areas of your body that may have dry, cracked skin, such as your hands. And as far as first aid is concerned, they have several bottles of isopropyl alcohol that can be used to treat wounds, along with a good selection of Band-Aids. And Dollar General also has several kinds of personal care items. They have a good selection of dental care stuff, along with soap, shampoo, and deodorant. And they have some travel-sized bottles of things like hand sanitizer and mouthwash that you could keep in a bug-out bag. And y'all, I've also done a video similar to this that covered prepper and survival items at Dollar Tree. If you want to check that out, I will put a card up here. And if you want to see the playlist of all the stores that I've done that's best prepper and survival items at, say, Lowe's, Walmart, bunch of other places, y'all can click on this playlist card. So, y'all have a good one. Thanks for stopping by.